Thank you for joining me this morning as we embark on a district shared vision, our portrait of a graduate. We are beginning to embark on this journey to determine what our students need to know, what they need to do, and what they need to be like so that they can be successful in the future, in the workplace, as productive citizens, and just being really good people. We're excited today to start this. We have talked with industry leaders and community leaders, our principals, and we know how important it is to have input and understanding from all of our teachers and staff. So first of all, what in the world is a portrait of a graduate? It is a listing of the specific skills and dispositions that we want all of our students to have. And yes, those are the skills and dispositions they should have for after graduation, but we know that starts in preschool. So it's so important that all of us work together to frame this portrait of a graduate that really reflects our schools, reflects Durango, reflects our community, and what we are very committed to. Here are a few examples of what a portrait of a graduate might look like for a school district. So, the big question is, why in the world do we need to do this? Why do we need a vision for our students? You may have read before, we've talked a little bit about Ikigai. What is Ikigai? It's that sweet spot where students find their passion, they have their interest met, they do something in the world that the world needs, and then also something, honestly, they can make money at. That's what we want for all of our students. That as they leave us and go into some sort of career that may, take a 4-year degree, a 2-year degree, a credential or training, that they find that perfect spot for them. And so that's what we're committed to, is making sure that every single student finds their Ikigai. The portrait of a graduate will help us get there. It will also help us align initiatives, plan strategically, authentically assess whether or not our students have acquired skills or dispositions, and we really want the entire community to rally around this work. Why is this so important now? I mean, we've come through a pandemic. I'm going to keep saying that. We've come through it. But we have learned a ton. There are problems, we may call them wicked problems, that we know in the future we're going to have to try to solve. And it is our students who will be those problem solvers. As we asked our principals and district leaders why this work is important, and they've been watching some of the same videos and things that you're going to see today, here are some of the whys that they've come up with. Because our children will be the parents and people who forge the future. Moral leadership and preparing our students for a VUCA world is vitally important. We need a shared vision of what qualities our graduates need to possess in order to be positive contributors to society and have good quality of life. And also so that every student actually lives their Ikigai. You'll see some more whys from our leaders. But we're going to take a moment right now, just about 3 minutes, for you to reflect individually and jot down your why for why this work is important. So how will we determine what these skills and dispositions are that we can all agree to? How do we find just the right themes? So first of all, we did start out with some industry and community leaders, and these people, are constantly thinking about the future. These are creatives, these are decision makers, leaders, people who have already, entrepreneurs, created products, and we asked them what skills and dispositions do they see that their employees of the future will need. And here's a clip of some of that. Now, first of all, it's about 2.5 hours long, and we're going to send that out a link in the newsletter, so you're welcome to watch the entire thing. We also took many pages of notes from this that will be added to this compilation of input that we will use for our skills and dispositions for our Portrait of a Graduate. So here's that clip.
I'll chime in. I think the biggest thing that we're looking for in business, and Tegra Corporation, we deal with all kinds of stuff, from proven technology to new technology to innovative engineering design. And I think the biggest thing that we see that most people are lacking when they come into our industry is they're focused in one area. We have to retrain them to think critically, well-rounded critical thinker. And part of that is engineers leave high school, they go to college, and they learn engineering, and they don't learn anything else. So they come out of that, and they've got one mindset, one way of thinking. It's no different than social media today, as kids start liking friends who think the same as them, or adults start liking things that think the same. You get one perspective. So the biggest thing that we are pushing for with our employees is critical thinkers who are more well-rounded individuals. And you talk about the internship and the project-based stuff. That's a huge thing for us. If they gain that exposure early on, then it takes us less time and more likely that we're going to pull those people in at an earlier age instead of needing them to go to a tech school. So our designers could potentially come straight into the workforce, straight out of high school, if they had some software background, some technology background.
Or even weed them out, right?
Yes.
Allow them the opportunity to experience in the industry that they thought they were into, and then realize, well, just check something else.
Find out early on. Yeah.
I'll just add, so I started my professional life as a biology teacher, and I think one of the hardest things is to allow people to stay curious when you're moving them through a system that has throughput and is trying to leverage a one-to-many kind of delivery model. So you have differentiated learning, you have all these, pedagogies that you're trying to adapt. But man, if we can if we can allow them to leave school more curious than they were when they came, which I think is very much kind of a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And you can frame it in a number of different ways. Because I think all of us, you use those stats about what jobs don't exist. And I used to use the example, I think it was 100,000 years for the amount of written information in the world to double the first time. And the amount of information in the world doubles like every 2 days or something now, something crazy. And so, man, if you're just not willing to ask why or what needs to be done or why isn't this happening, which I just sum up as curiosity, then I think we're setting people up to really be frustrated by the world that they're living in.
I'll just add with that too, at La Plata Electric, we have a hard time with new employees. They don't know how to fail and get out of failure. And even with I have 3 children, and they're used to getting awards for everything, and when they don't get an award, they're devastated. They don't know how to emotionally deal with it. And so I think we've made a mistake by giving every kid an award. And we actually need to celebrate individualism. We don't do that anymore either. And we're seeing that in the employees that we have to let them go at my company because they come in and they think that they know the right way, and when they fail, they can't figure it out. And emotionally, it just is a spiral. So I think that's a key thing for people to learn, especially in school, is actually you're not going to get the award, you're going to fail. But having a class on how emotionally get through that, I always wonder why there's no class on Facebook or social media in schools. and how kids can go through and figure that out. Because even as an adult, I get hammered in the news and Facebook, and it emotionally hurts, but I've never had anyone teach me on what that means and what it looks like on the other side. And so my employees that get that, they just cannot dig themselves out of this hole. And they think that what they do is the right way. And so it's been really tough for us to figure that out and help employees pass that. And when they can't, then they have to go. But that's kind of one of the major issues we're seeing. And then that stifles creativity, like you guys were saying. And it stifles continuous improvement. And it actually stifles speaking up and being creative and saying something. It all goes back to that one issue.
So now today we're going to ask you, all of our teachers and staff, to help us determine the skills and dispositions that you feel are important. You work with students every day. You know what's working well, what's not, what you would love for them to be able to do. What might those types of skills and dispositions be? Maybe you want our students to be creative problem solvers. Maybe you want to build empathy. Maybe you just want them to be good people. Also, sustainability is really important in our community. You will be the decision makers to help us form the future for our students, especially in, unfortunately, a time of division. Just imagine the impact we can make together on our future. So this morning, we begin that journey. We're going to delve deeper into what a Portrait of a Graduate is. You'll look at many examples. You'll be reflecting on some videos that give us a glimpse into how the world has changed and how it's changing for the future. You'll also think about our timeline for the future, what might be our next steps, so that this Portrait of a Graduate truly can be our North Star for the district. We can align everything to it. We can make sure our students are able to demonstrate these skills and dispositions so that we can truly make that impact. I'm so grateful to be sharing this future making with you. You are astonishing, and I cannot wait to see what you come up with. Have a wonderful day.